Hi everyone, it's your girl Whitney Luna, and the topic of today is, well, the video for today is for my empaths and my scapegoats out there. The ones who are still trying to figure out how to maneuver through life, what you consider to be a healthy friendship, a healthy relationship, because being an empath, being a scapegoat, we need to look at the world a little bit differently than the next person. We vibrate at a very different level, I guess you could say. I don't want to say we vibrate higher or that we're better, because that's not what I'm saying at all. But we do vibrate at a different vibration that does draw in, interesting people that need to be healed, because we do provide a very healing energy. And it took me a while to really understand that. And it really was, I guess, the most important thing for me to learn on this journey was really developing strong boundaries, understanding what a healthy friendship is, a healthy relationship is, because for a lot of my life, I was exhausted all the time. I was always fatigued. I always had anxiety, or just never really felt, I guess you could say, I never was 100% comfortable. I never felt 100% safe. And I understand now it's because of a lot of the time, surrounding myself with the wrong people, not bad people, but just not with the right people. Just people that I guess you could say our energies just didn't match, or relationships where I was giving too much and not receiving anything in return. Not that that's what I was looking for, but I just noticed that a lot of my friendships back in the past were very imbalanced, or just not healthy friendships at all. So this video is about understanding that, you have to go through the world a little bit differently than somebody who isn't so energetically sensitive, than somebody who can hang out with anybody, because unfortunately, if you're an empath, you're very energetically sensitive, and you can't just hang out with anybody. You can't just be friends with anybody. You really need to be extra cautious, extra protective of your own energy, and really have strong boundaries. Because like I said, you attract people of different energies that can be very, I guess, unhealthy to a degree, because they need that healing. They want that healing, and you emit a healing energy. So you need to be protective of yourself. And you may have been brought up in an environment where you weren't properly protected, or you weren't taught proper boundaries. So that's something that you kind of need to teach yourself. You need to learn, okay, is this person draining me? Is this person adding to my life? How do I feel when I see them? How do I feel when I'm not around them? Because like I said, for a lot of my life, I was exhausted all the time. All the time. Like, even just getting through a regular work week was very difficult for me. By the end of it, I was exhausted. And the big realization for me was that, when you hang out with your friends, you should not feel drained afterwards. You should not feel, there shouldn't be passive aggressiveness. There shouldn't be jealousy, because even in past friendships I had, I noticed that I would always try to dim my light in some way, because I was uncomfortable to share anything positive that happened, because they would try to say something negative, or try, like I said, passive aggressiveness. And I picked up on stuff like that from a young age, but at the same time, it wasn't abnormal for me, because that was kind of the norm for me, in many ways. So that was something as an adult, as I've gotten older and hopefully wiser, is that, your friends should not be draining you. The people that you surround yourself with should not be draining you. You shouldn't walk away from being around who you consider to be best friends, close friends, and feeling like absolute garbage and feeling drained. And it's not always what they do. It could, like I said, it could just be an energy imbalance. Your energy just isn't compatible. And anytime you leave, you might notice that they feel better and you just feel exhausted. So really pay attention to that, because your friend should lift you up. Your friend should make you feel energized. Right? Like, anytime I talk to one of my close friends, I feel amazing after. I know I'm going to sleep like a baby, because they just have that vibration that meshes well with me. There's no judgment, there's no passive aggressiveness, there's no jealousy. It's just all love, and vice versa. They know if they come to me, I'm going to, add to their light just like they add to mine. So I think that was probably the biggest realization for me as being a empath, energetically sensitive, scapegoat, whatever it is you want to call it, and just really realizing that, the reason why I was so exhausted a lot of the time had nothing to do with my health, because I had everything checked out all the time. I even changed my diet multiple times, because I thought that something was wrong with me. But then looking back, I'm like, oh, well, you know what? When I was in school, I never really felt safe. I always had a lot of anxiety. And then I noticed that a lot of the people I surrounded myself with, either, you know, the relationship was imbalanced, or I just found that our energy just didn't mesh, or it just wasn't a good friendship at all. So it's really about rebuilding your boundaries and really paying attention to who it is that you allow into your life, you know, being more protective over yourself, realizing that, unfortunately, I hate to say this, but you can't be friends with everybody. You need to be very selective. I would rather have a few close friends versus like a room full of friends that I can't trust or who just drain me at the end of the day, right? So it really is about going through life a little bit differently. You have to go through life differently. That's just, you know, the negative side of being an empath. But there's also a bright side to it, is anytime you've been around somebody who may not have been somebody that you should have been around, I guarantee that you saw all the signs before then. I guarantee that you noticed that something wasn't quite right. Maybe none of their stories lined up. Maybe you noticed that they never really told the truth. Maybe you noticed that, I don't know, like you usually can tell from the beginning. And I consider that a blessing. Once I consider that a curse, because a lot of the time I would see things before other people did. So I'd be like, am I being judgmental? Like, what is it about this person that I'm not trusting? And always trust that intuition, because let's be real, charisma usually wins a lot of people over. You know, it's all about the charisma versus the actual message behind it, right? You look at people with charisma, they always have a crowd of people around them. And I think charisma is a beautiful thing. But at the same time, you know, be very careful about who you surround yourself with. Even if they're very charismatic and very, you know, have that bursting energy, they still can drain your energy, because there just isn't energy imbalance between you, or, you know, a multitude of other reasons. So you really just need to go through the world a little bit differently. You need to protect yourself. You need to find ways to keep your energy up, vibrate high, make sure you get proper rest, and you really need to watch your eating. You know, make sure you're eating proper nutrient foods that really add to your energy, because again, that's that could be one of the reasons that's making you very exhausted, is maybe not eating the best food, you know, eating what's, I guess you could say, easy to make versus what is actually beneficial to you, being an energy sensitive person. So yeah, I think that's it for this video. All over the place as usual, but I hope there's a strong message in there for my beautiful empaths, for my beautiful scapegoats out there that, you know, might still be suffering from fatigue, because I hate suffering from fatigue. It is the worst feeling, because you feel like you're lazy even though you know you're not. But the truth is, like I said, is that you just got to go through the world a little bit differently. So I think that's it for this video. I love you guys so much. Take care.